Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is always an honor to address this August House on youth development activities. My ministry is undertaking around Fiji and also provide an update on the future plans. Madam Speaker, I wish to expand on the activities the ministry is implementing with a focus on the Eastern Division. While we focus on the Eastern Division, it doesn't mean that we are not looking after the other three divisions, but we focus on the Eastern Division for this statement. In my last statement to this House, I indicated that we are establishing the Non-Formal Education Council, and I am delighted that the Interim Council has met for the first time as it prepares to support the establishment of the full council in due course. I must reiterate our commitment to support early school leavers and adults not affiliating themselves to any formal training whatsoever. I believe that through increased cooperation with the Non-Formal Education Network, we will collaborate to maximize the effective use of resources to provide skill training and so reduce unemployment, crime rates, and many other social issues faced by the youth in Fiji. Madam Speaker, we know the challenges faced by the Fijian living in the maritime islands of the Eastern Division and the difficulty accessing most services provided by the government and the private sector. Despite the challenges of irregular sleeping schedules and adverse weather conditions, the Ministry continues strives to implement programs in the islands with Eastern Division comprising of Lau, Mawiti and Kandavu province, including Rotuma. This commitment includes our divisions around, but the Eastern Division has the most challenges. Madam Speaker, the Ministry has embraced the vision of reaching and enriching the unreached, affirming our resolve to reach out to meet the needs of young peoples in the maritime areas, providing them with the opportunity to develop their characters, resilience, skills and discipline. Our youth deserve the same equal opportunity as those in peri-urban and urban centres. As an NFE provider, we are committed to reaching and enriching young people in the remotest of places across Fiji. Through our demand-driven programs, we provide young people the necessary skills to help them create and develop their livelihoods and help them venture into small or macro entrepreneurial activities. The Ministry, through our training, provides the critical second chance to young rural Fijians who have left school early and have not secured employment. However, Madam Speaker, we also need to recognize agriculture as a form of employment, particularly as we work to commercialize it with the support of the Ministry of Agriculture. Madam Speaker, 6 empowerment training courses open to young men and women have been conducted in Kandavu, and one is currently underway as I speak. The Ministry has invested 42,000 in Kandavu alone for this training. 5 other similar training courses were held in Kambara and Ponombalabu in the Lau province, Sanima district in Kandavu, and Lawoni and Batiki in Lamaviti. 2 multi-skills training courses focusing on empowering a woman were also conducted in Namukelau in Kambara and Malaka in Ponombalabu. They were trained in basic cookery and sewing and were also provided assistance to establish income-generating projects. The Ministry invested a total of 10,000 in this. In addition, 5 mobile skills training courses with a total budget of 25,000 were also conducted in Kambara, in Ponombalabu in Lau, Tikino Dawa and Tikino of Mundu in Koro, and Bunsea in Kandavu. In Maduata province, similar training was held on Kia Island on fiberglass boat repair, small engine repair, empowerment training, and the Boat Master Class 6 license training. A total of 90 youths attended these training opportunities, offered in partnership with MSF and other stakeholders. On March this year, I was in Nameva Kai in the Tikin of Tokoimalo in Ra to open a training course run in partnership with the Technical College of Fiji. The training on basic comfort was attended by 65 young men and 4 women from 10 villages, so they can rebuild their houses. A similar program was also conducted in Aswa village in Ra along the King's Road. with the keen support of the Honourable Minister of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, we are running another similar course in Nailuba this week. And together we hope to address the needs of other communities as they rebuild their homes and lives after TC Winston. The ministry continues to provide targeted training to harness skills development for young people, including small engine repair, basic electrical wiring, plumbing, carpentry, hospitality and catering, sewing and tailoring, organic and regular agriculture, and many more. We are also looking to expand our offer to include skills styling required to help our economy expand. Madam Speaker, the ministry also provides training to young aspiring leaders through their leadership and management training in partnership with the University of South Pacific. 2 such courses were conducted recently in Suva for a total of 40 youths from the Eastern Division with a budget of $4,000. These programs build on the seed of success training we offer. Such empowerment and capacity building training for young people inspires them to take ownership of and meet the challenges around them, to identify how they can effectively manage their time, resources and roles in their community. Similar training is planned for the Central and the Western Division before the end of this financial year. Madam Speaker, Canterbury Province has a training center in Nevitu, Nagaba. The ministry has submitted plans to expand this and our other centers, which we will see the additional facilities and enabling the centers to meet their core function more efficiently. This includes facility to accommodate young ladies and young people with special needs. The ministry will continue to promote gender equality and inclusion of our training center and in our activities and programs. Our Nassau and Nangara training centers have included women in the past, and we are emphasizing a special focus on this development for Avitu to empower young women in Canterbury to attend training programs. Madam Speaker, this capital project has encouraged youth from all over Fiji, with the majority coming from the Eastern Division. To enroll at the center, a total of $70,000 is projected to fund further development of the Youth Training Center in Avitu for the next financial year. The ministry in 2016 began its upgrade to Avitu and appointed its first accredited trainer in order to meet standards required by the Fiji Higher Education Commission. Initial training conducted in Avitu has been the NTPC FNU Accredited Carpentry General Class 3. The next phase of training programs development begins in the second half of this year with the introduction of level 2 in cabinet making and joinery. Madam Speaker, the ministry is now progressing well towards providing more courses accredited by the Fiji Higher Education Commission for the benefit of youth across all our 5 training centers. To achieve this, major capital works are being carried out in Nassau in Singatoka, Nalemba in Maduata, Nangara in Sausavu, and Walelevu in Nasinu. This will ensure that we provide a conducive environment and up-to-standard training for our young people. The accreditation of our training courses through Fiji Higher Education Commission pushes us to employ accredited trainers to provide accredited training so training acquire competence in the chosen profession. This will ensure youths are eligible for job immediately or can choose to pursue technical education further. However, our center continues to provide opportunities to those who may need a second chance. As part of the South-South cooperation, Madam, as I've alluded earlier, after the meeting with my counterpart from Tuvalu in 2015, we have now invited 3 young trainees at our training center at Nassau. 2 young men and young women who enroll with us for agriculture and carpentry. Later this year, I hope we'll enroll a young person from Tuvalu in our Walelevu training center. It's only to observe our musical and cultural tradition, as well as to share his or her tradition with our young people. Madam Speaker, in addition to the above, the Ministry of Youth also provided assistance for the establishment of 10 family gardens with a budget of $700 for the purchase of seedling. For these gardens, was established in Lebuka of Lau, since they all suffered the brunt of TC Winston, and 5 were established in Bunisia Kandabu. The Northern Division, similar backyard garden was established in Hunibau, Sosoa, Ratsunia, and Wasabulu settlement in Madwata. The program remains popular in the Kaunrapa province as soon after TC Winston. Most villages affected were immediately in need to stable supply of food and vegetables. Madam Speaker, the Ministry also implement this program to the Central Division, especially among youth clubs in the peri-urban settlements. Here we supply them with wheat decide and spray tanks, farming equipment and seeds. This simple program aims to encourage youth to establish backyard gardens for household consumption and also quick income if an excess supply is produced. This we encourage as part of our push to support entrepreneurs to reduce poverty level among our people. Madam Speaker, the Ministry also, through our Eastern Division Office, has allocated 20,000 worth of youth grants to provide assistance to youth clubs and individuals who are interested in establishing income-generating projects in the division. In Kandavu, 8 young entrepreneurs who were trained at Abitu were assisted with $1,000 so that they can assist a business. These grants help create greater impacts and benefit for the youth. My ministry is looking to support more sustainable projects for youth clubs and individuals by providing training to develop better business plans, including savings and therefore investment plans. Similar grants were handed over to youths of Nambasa Ono in Madwata, Lekutulevu in the Kaunrope, Badike youths of Madwata, and the Wanika youths of youth clubs of the Kaunrope, worth over 7,300. Similar grants was dispersed in the Central and the Western Division to propel youth initiative and projects and help create sustainable livelihood. My ministry, through our Central Division Office, provide assistance in establishing a poultry and a chicken farm in Tadi, Northern Riau, and soon to be open for consumer in the areas. Dalosako have delivered to farmers in Naitasiri, as well as chainsaw to assist them in clearing logs and tree for farming. Of course, the youth are trained to manage chainsaws by the Ministry of Forest. Madam Speaker, we continue to ensure that youths are provided up-to-date information on issues affecting them and those of national and global importance like climate change, human rights, sexual reproductive health, and many others. Earlier this year, 40 youths from Lau, Kandavu, Lomaiviti, and Rutuma came to Suma to attend a human rights and gender-based violence against women and children workshop. I thank UNICEF for its support for this initiative. A similar workshop was held in Kandavu, another will soon be held in the Western Division for 150 youths in Nandronga and Nabosa province. We will continue to create awareness of violence against women and children. And my ministry is working very well with the Fiji Women's Crisis Center to ensure effective awareness among our official and young people on the issue of violence against women and children. Through our Sexual Reproduction Health and Rights Initiative with the Ministry of Health and UNFPA, our ministry will continue emphasizing mutual respect and equal rights. Madam Speaker, I wish to highlight that next month, Bishop Youth will host the National Youth Entrepreneur Awards, the first for Fiji to recognize and reward young and aspiring entrepreneurs. I acknowledge the strong partnership with this, which is developing with the Fiji Commercial and Employment Federation in this initiative. Eastern Division, Madam Speaker, has recorded 27 new youth clubs registered out of the 40-year mark for this financial year. I also want to highlight that the division also benefits from sports equipment, sports program administered by the ministry. A total of 17 youth clubs were assisted with basic sports equipment worth $3,000 so far. The donation were distributed to 6 youth clubs in Lau, 6 in Lomaiviti, 4 in Kandavu, and 1 in Rutuma. Work is still in progress for the new and special design sports ground in Bunisia and Kandavu and Sawea Kengau, both of which I have inspected personally in the past week. Madam Speaker, The Ministry, in partnership with Fiji Swimming, Ministry of Education, and the Pacific Sports Partnership through the Australian government, recently launched the Learn to Swim pilot project at the Olympic pool. The project, which is currently in its pilot phase, and is ideal for Eastern Division in its next phase, as it is surrounded by the ocean. We hope to secure some funding to roll out this program to students, teachers, and our youth club around Fiji. Fijians need to learn how to swim and know how to do in fast-moving water in case of emergency. The Ministry hopes to receive national support towards this program so we can help reduce the number of deaths in Fiji from drowning. Madam Speaker, the Ministry will continue to provide the best support possible for the development of youth in all our divisions. We are hoping to receive an increase in budget and in the next financial year. The increase would enable the Ministry provide targeted training and intervention to enable youth to remain and contribute to economic activities in the maritime islands, in our rural areas, and so help reduce the rural urban drift. The Ministry is committed to reaching out to them and deliver assistance and empowerment programs so they can utilize their resources and thrive where they are. In particular, we will reach the furthest maritime island in the province of Lau, Lomaiviti, Kadavu, and of course Rotuma, to provide them with programs and assistance to elevate their socio-economic status and create a pathway to pursue their dreams. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Youth and the Ministry of Education are in partnership in expanding the Duke of Edinburgh International Awards to students and teachers around Fiji. I must say that the awards program is gaining steady momentum and popularity in our division. I'm delighted that the Ministry is building this international non-formal education program across the country. Both this Ministry administer and promote the Duke of Edinburgh International Award programs through school and youth clubs. I take this opportunity to thank the Honourable Minister of Education for his support. We will soon introduce it to inmates across our correctional facilities, since the majority of them are young people, and so meet our target of supporting more youth at risk groups around Fiji. To conclude, Madam Speaker, my Ministry will continue to carry out its roles and function for youth in the 4th Division and continue to strive to meet the unique challenges in the Eastern Division. We believe, as Martin Luther King Jr. said, not everybody can be famous, but everybody can be great, because greatness is determined by service. Thank you for the opportunity, Madam Speaker.
Now for the Leader of the Opposition or designate to deliver a response.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I thank my good friend, the Minister of Youth, for his misleading statement. That is important to have a plan for youth and to incorporate with the national plan so that we do not leave out the youth, our future leaders. The Minister's statement is centered on the Central Division because of its remoteness and isolation. I feel for the youth in the division because the government is not assisting enough to make them realize their potential. It is clear that the annual budget for youth is not enough to cater for the need and purpose of youth in the Maritime province, such as Lau, Lomaiviti, and Kadavu. Not forgetting Rotuma. I request the Minister for Economy, on behalf of the youth of Fiji, to increase the youth budget for the year 2017-2018. What the government should do is to utilize the talent and skill of the youth, together with land, sea, and mineral resources. For instance, setting up youth program to farm the land in terms of agricultural produce, setting up coastal ventures in the provinces, setting youth think tanks of the youth to discuss mineral-related issues for the benefit of the people as custodian of land and resources. Madam Speaker, at the same time, the government is not encouraging youth to stay in their own provinces to farm the land. It should pour money to develop needs of youth in the Eastern Division. The government should include schools in the area that will allow students to study in their own areas and be interested in studying topics that relate to their own areas. Perhaps set up a university in Loma Loma, in the Eastern Division, to generate economic viability and activities. Madam Speaker, I appreciate the cooking and shoring program that is mentioned, but marketing has to be devised so that the talents of women are available to see the light, and some days we export it overseas. We understand the importance of education and should give you a second chance, and this is divine. Climate change, Madam Speaker, is a challenge in the maritime area. Madam Speaker, at the same level, I feel for the youth of the Central, Western, and Northern Division. Honourable Minister, please ensure that the National Youth Dam graduate should be recognized as a door of opportunity to teaching certificates. The government should not leave out the utilization of land, sea, and other resources, and should always link the youth to it. We owe it to assist the youth and what they stood for. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Now call on the leader of the NFP or his designate to give a response.
Madam Speaker, I thank the Minister for his statement, and I'm encouraged by his efforts to address issues that affect our youths. Madam Speaker, unfortunately, the Ministry continues to limit its efforts and therefore the aspirations and dreams of our young persons into stereotype boxes like particular issues alone. I have not seen or heard from the Ministry any initiatives that tap into our young persons' visions, innovations, energy and entrepreneurship, and that will be the biggest failing of any leadership. When we continuously assume that we know what is best for our young persons, we tend to fail, Madam Speaker. I know that there are some very groundbreaking initiatives on science, engineering and technology happening in some of our institutions of higher learning, but I don't see those innovations being harnessed or being incubated to live anywhere by the Ministry. Our young persons need a seat at the table, Madam Speaker, not the tokenistic kind, but where they can actually and effectively drive and execute their visions. All they need from us is the space and the mentoring capacity to help them fly. There are continuous challenges, Madam Speaker, to develop skills of our youths in the rural and maritime areas. Whilst the Ministry is addressing these through trainings, the question remains whether there is opportunity to absorb these youths and their leaders into real employment. Madam Speaker, it is heartening to note that the non-formal education initiative is taking off the ground, and this is in respect of training alone. And the last response I had said that this must be focused or targeted towards the inmates in the correctional facilities, the street kids, and others who don't have any access to the programs. And this is the target area that we must have. For in our correctional facilities, we have inmates who are 18 to 30 years, and they're still in their youth, and this is where the focus should be. Madam Speaker, once we address this and this National Youth Plan, then only we can stop reoffending by giving them employment. A program that is designed to move away from the patriarchal way of doing things into a more holistic way. And Madam Speaker, the National Youth Plan It has its merits. It is moving in that direction, and we urge the ministry to be more proactive and progressive in its approach to the outcomes. Thank you, Madam Speaker.